Are legendary. Is it the looks? No, it can't be, because Rolls-Royce is loved by nearly everybody and that looks horrible. Is it the speed? Well, that's not possible either, because the Miata and the BRZ are super popular, even though they take longer to reach 0 to 60 than it does to load into Grand Theft Auto. The answer to what makes a car so legendary is simply just being the best at what you set out to do. My name is Mark Roden, and this is the deep dive on the Subaru Forester. In my opinion, people in the car community commonly misunderstand popular cars. They hate things like the Scion TC and the Mazda Miata for not being fast enough, when those cars were never built to be ridiculously fast in the first place. They were built for a different purpose, and in my opinion, both of those cars fulfilled their purpose very, very well. The Miata is one of the best ways to get into autocross still in 2023, and yes, the TC isn't fast either, but it is a very reliable, cool-looking commuter car that teenagers can get into for a cheap price and not have to worry their parents so much. And the same thing has sadly happened with the Forester. Subaru as a brand has made some amazing cars, from the 22B STI back in the 90s to the S209 STI that was just built in recent years. But all the cars in between that make it possible for those other legends to be built never get any praise whatsoever when they absolutely deserve it. During the late 90s, the American car industry was going through a massive change. Nobody really wanted to buy sedans anymore, and hatchbacks were now all the rage. Seeing this trend, Subaru was pretty happy, because they were already kind of the king of the Japanese hatchback at this point, so they knew that they would be able to massively profit from this change, and they did. The shift to hatchbacks in America is the reason why you see so many Subarus everywhere you go nowadays, especially in places with winter, since they offer that wonderful all-wheel drive. But Subaru was not happy there. They wanted to make something even better than a hatchback and would create the next big thing for the American market, the crossover SUV.
Utility.
Not just any sport utility. Observe. A lower rear end that's easy to load, easy to get into as well, all with a smooth car-like ride.
Of course, I know it'll be rough without me around, but
First-gen Subaru Forester sporting the SF chassis code would come onto the market in 1997 and would be the start to something unique. Now yes, as a car guy, I am not a huge fan of crossover SUVs either, but just like every other boring car in the past, they make it possible for car companies to build the sports cars that we do like, so I have respect for them. And plus, even though this was a crossover SUV, it was much closer to the style of a hatchback at first anyway, and the engine offered in it was the same motor they were putting in the Subaru Imprezas at the time, called the EJ25. Which was a 2.5 liter flat four that managed to push out 165 horsepower going to all four wheels. Now, a lot of people like to say this motor is incredibly unreliable, but I disagree. I knew two people who had SF Foresters, and they both had a little bit over 200,000 miles before selling them. You can even look on Facebook Marketplace right now and find plenty of SF Foresters with over 200k still running and driving. So it just sounds to me like people did not really know how to maintain a boxer motor, and when it blew up, they blamed the motor and not themselves. But either way, the Forester was here, and of course it sold well, selling at 100,000 models the very first year it was released, which is very impressive, especially for the launch of a whole new subgenre of automobiles. Yes, over 99% of those were most likely 70-year-old ladies trying to just get to Stop and Shop in time, but the other 1% quickly figured out how fun these little Foresters can be. You see, even though the Forester is a crossover SUV, and on paper they should not be cool cars at all, the car community likes to experiment a little bit, and through our trials and tribulations, we quickly realized that a lightweight SUV with enough room to fit all of your buddies and a Subaru Flat 4 under the hood would make for some incredible fun on the dirt with nothing more than some bigger tires and maybe a lift kit. Nowadays, the SF Forester is even slammed on its nuts quite a bit, and there's even some mad lads who decide to buy them to drift, since it's very easy to find a manual Forester under 5k, and even easier to swap it to rear-wheel drive if you wanted to. The car's incredible reliability. Yes, I said the EJ25 is reliable, fight me. It's very good ground clearance, its unique looks, all of the space that you could possibly need, and its incredibly cheap price nowadays makes it an incredible option for just about anybody. And if the car is a little bit too old for you, don't worry, they did it again.
All the same.
With more standard safety features than anything in its class, and more standard horsepower than a CR-V, it's the obvious choice. When you get it, you get it. The all-new Forester.
The second generation, or SG Forester, came out in 2002 and was literally everything great about the first gen, but now better. Obviously, since this is the launch of a new generation, they would change the boring things that we don't really care about, like new technology and better interior, but the big ol' fat stinky change, at least for the American market, was the added horsepower numbers. The 2.5 liter flat 4 was now making 170 trace horsepower, which is only an 8 horsepower jump from the previous generation, so you may be scratching your head and asking if Mark Roden has lost it, but no, I haven't, because they also introduced to the Americans the XT model, which was finally equipped with a damn turbocharger, bumping the horsepower number all the way up to 230 horses, while keeping everything that we liked on the car before on the new model as well. They also did a whole lot of weight reduction, getting the car to an incredible 2,900 pounds, which by the way is significantly lighter than my 350Z, and for a crossover SUV, that's pretty insane. The all-wheel drive system was also revised, so it handled a whole lot better on and off the road, and most importantly, you had even more space somehow to store all of your Harry Potter books.
For you, Floyd, if you could read one full page of a Harry Potter book.
Naturally, this car was also an amazing option for car guys that wanted something reliable, fun, and still practical as well, especially for snowy conditions. The car sold well again, but actually a little bit worse than the previous generation, dropping down to only 80,000 sales in the very first year, which yes, doesn't sound good if a car got less sales than its previous generation, but 80k is still 80k, and that's pretty damn impressive. In 2023, these cars are once again an amazing option for a young car enthusiast since they're cheap, forgiving, but still fun as hell, and before you say that they don't look too good, well don't worry, in 2006 they gave the car a facelift and made it just absolutely sexy like freaking Margot Robbie, while also giving the Japanese market a gosh darn Forester STI version of the car, which would literally take all the parts that they were putting on the WRX STI at the time and slap them on the damn Forester, creating what is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated rally cars of all time. We aren't going to go into too much detail on what the Forester STI did because I pretty much told you already. Imagine a Subaru Forester but with all the parts from a WRX STI on it, and that is the car. It was also only offered in Japanese markets and not a lot were sold either, so there really isn't a huge fan base for them sadly. So instead, we're going to move on to the next generation, which is where the Forester sadly lost its touch to me. Before the third generation, or the SH Forester, came out, the car was very small while still having the space of a normal SUV, and most importantly was actually kind of sporty. But when the SH came out, they got rid of all that. The car was now significantly larger and weighed almost 400 pounds more than the previous generation in the lightest version of the car. Heavier versions reached, wow, why did I say that with like the biggest lisp ever? Heavier versions reached a 600 pound difference, which is a whole damn 1000cc motorcycle with a rider on it. It was also stripped of all performance parts, and the quickest version was now the XT Premium, which came with the same 2.5 liter turbo flat 4 that was seen in earlier models, but was somehow less powerful now, only making 227 horsepower in a car that weighed 600 pounds more, and with a much higher ground clearance. And even though it sounds like I'm hating on Subaru for making the Forester more commuter friendly, I'm actually not, and I totally understand why Subaru did that to the Forester. Even though us car guys loved it and we turned it into something fun, it was never really meant to be that way, and the SH model honestly still does have some cool bits and can still be fun if you're creative enough. It was still offered with a 5-speed manual, and it now even had hill start assist. The interior and exterior was a lot more fancy looking, and it still was very reliable, good on gas, and dirt cheap, especially for a crossover SUV. I actually used to drive an SH Forester as a delivery vehicle for my old job, and the steering felt very, very smooth as well, and the car never got stuck even in the dead of winter. It's a very good car. As a matter of fact, the SH Forester is a good car, but it's sadly just not the car that us car guys were looking for, and the next generations wouldn't be much better. Generations of the Subaru Forester so far were called the SJ, which was released in 2012, and the SK, released in 2018, and both of them kind of built on what the third gen Forester started, making the car more friendly to the average person and selling as many models as possible, which, to give Subaru credit, they succeeded in, since they both sold well over 150,000 models per year. These are no longer even crossover SUVs at this point. They both weighed around 3,600 pounds, and to me that should be classified as a full SUV, and they haven't increased the horsepower numbers since then either. As a matter of fact, the fastest model available in 2023 makes only 182 horsepower, which is way less than even the second generation model that made 230 horsepower. To give credit where credit is due, they did come out with something called the Forester Wilderness, which is honestly kind of cool and is built to handle the worst that nature has to offer, and I do kind of like it, to be honest. But besides that, we haven't really seen something cool from the Forester since the last time that the SG Forester rolled off the line in 2008. However, I don't think it's smart to judge the Forester off of what has been done in recent years, and instead, we should be praising it for what it did in the 2000s. Whether you were a mom looking for something to bring the kids in, a father looking for something to get him to work and back on time, a high schooler looking for something that won't break the bank, a drifter looking for a cheap manual option, a stance guy looking for something to make unique yet still cool, an off-road guy looking for something that isn't just a Jeep, or even a race car driver looking for something that may be a little bit of a challenge to make fast, then the first two generations of the Subaru Forester will always be a decent, if not great option for you. And to me, that is what makes the Subaru Forester so great. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video on what makes the Subaru Forester so great. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what reviews I'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And yeah, guys, it's obviously a re-upload, as you guys can tell by the title. But for those who don't know, we are doing 3 videos per week now, so 1 on Mondays, 1 on Fridays, and 1 on Wednesdays. And on the Monday videos are going to be re-uploads of old What Makes It Greats until we get done with those. There's only like around 9 left now, so we won't be doing that for too much longer, I promise. But we're doing re-uploads on that, and then the top 25 list on Wednesdays, and then on Fridays are new What Makes It Greats. That's the new upload schedule for this channel and everything like that. I feel like it just makes more sense. It's just better to do it that way, and I'm going with a quality over quantity approach, whereas before I used to do a lot of videos, but they wouldn't be like my happiest videos, my most proud videos to get out there. Now I'm doing videos that I'm actually happy to get out there, so I hope you guys are enjoying it recently. It's been a good time, Also, we don't do media of the days on What Makes It Great, but there is a media of the day today, and the media of the day today is Forza Horizon 6, dude. I have been playing that game like crazy since it came out. I'm literally like rushing through this outro so I can go back and play it again. I'm having an absolute blast playing it. So if you like racing games, which you probably do if you're watching this channel since you're a car guy, go play that game. It's incredible. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.